Hi my loves, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jess from Bahati Life. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today we are talking about smudging. What is it and why you would want to use it and how to smudge your space. This question was actually submitted in one of my YouTube comments from one of my followers on Instagram and on the YouTube channel. I don't remember your name right now, but I will link you and give you the shout out down below. Thank you so much for submitting your question. It's questions like these that help me to be able to better serve you guys, to know what questions you have, because I wouldn't even think to talk about smudging on here because I thought it was something that, a lot of people knew. But now that I'm thinking about it, there's so many different ways to smudge and to smudge your space, and people probably have a lot of questions, even if you are an advanced spiritual practitioner. So what is smudging? Smudging is using a ingredient or an item or a substance in order to energetically hit the reset button of your space. So it cleanses the space and purifies it of any type of negative energy or old vibrations. And sometimes it's not even negative energy, but sometimes you just need to cleanse your space completely. This is perfect for you guys if you have a meditation room, or if you're a tarot reader or a healer or an energy worker of some sort. 9 times out of 10, you're really going to want to smudge and to cleanse your space, because those people in all things come with energy, and over time that energy can kind of build up within a space and it starts to feel congested, or God forbid you're working with someone who has negative vibes connected to them. So let's say someone's going through a breakup and you're doing a tarot reading for them, and they're just so heartbroken, they're so emotional, and when you're working with them, they're emotionally releasing. Well, that energy within that space, and they're not doing anything wrong, they don't have bad intention, and in fact you invited them into your space in order to work with them and to pull some cards, but that energy kind of leaves a lingering vibration, and it can have an effect on you, and you can feel it even though you're not intentionally trying to absorb that energy, especially if you're an empath or a sensitive or an energy worker in general. It just kind of sticks with us. So what you want to do is you want to take an item, whether it be sage or Palo Santo, and burn it in order to cleanse a space. Maybe, and like I'll describe in the future of this video, moving forward in this video, that it doesn't always have to be something that you have to burn that creates a smoke. There's other alternatives which we can talk about. Another example of why you would want to use smudging is, let's say you are visited by spirits, or let's say someone passes on in your space, or let's say you're moving into a new home environment, or you have a new office setting, or whatever the case may be. You really want to take some time out to smudge the space in order to cleanse it and to refreshen that space with your own personal intention, with your own personal vibration in your energy. So you're not having this lingering presence of the people or the things that were there before you. Another great idea for smudging, another great way of our time to smudge is, the beginning and end of a new year. So, or the old year. So right now, as I'm filming this, it's like December 18th or December 17th. I can't remember, but we're finalizing the energy of the year of 2017 as we move on to 2018. So you better believe, as I'm moving into this new year, I'm going to smudge and cleanse my space, my workspace, my apartment, my kitchen, my boyfriend's apartment, my family's apartment. I'm going to smudge all of those spaces because we are releasing the old and making way for the new. So all that being said, what is smudging, and what are some tools that you can use in order to smudge your space, and maybe some alternatives if you can't work with a smoke, and I'll tell you my favorites. So the most obvious and the most widely used is sage. Now, this is my personal sage bundle that I use, obviously, because it is completely charcoaled over, and I've used it so many times. It's relatively small. I normally have thicker ones within my shop that are available for my clients and also for myself to use. I just, take them from the stock and burn them for myself in the event that I use it. But this one I've had for a good amount of time. You can, light the tip of it. It, goes on fire. You wait for the smoke to catch. Let's see if I have a lighter around here so I could show you guys. But you wait for the sage to catch fire at the very tip, and it will burn. You want to wait until there's a thick white smoke that's coming from it. When you have that thick white smoke, you blow it out and you use that smoke in order to cleanse and sage the space and smudge the space. Smudging with sage, particularly, sage is so powerful. If you smell it, I mean, it has a smell and an energy to it that is, you just can't mistake it. You know that it's sage when it's burning. It's so thick, it's so strong. And it's awesome for that because it completely removes any energy within a space, positive and negative. And that's a good thing and a bad thing. Because sometimes you don't want to remove positive energy. Sometimes you just want to, remove the negative stuff and just recharge it. Hit the reset button. The other thing about sage is that, like I said before, the scent of it and the smell of it, the scent and the thickness of it is something that is unmistakable. So this could be really difficult. Let's say for my closeted witches or people who live in environments where they can't, have smoke in their room or within an apartment space, or they want to keep it a secret. Now, you're not doing anything wrong, but some people really do stay within the closet where they're just like, I don't want people to know that I'm saging my room because it provokes questions and people are asking me about it, or people get weird about it, or whatever the case may be. So this would not be what you want if you're trying to hide the fact that you're smudging within your space, simply because the smoke scent that is left after you've burned it kind of lingers for a while. So this would not be a good alternative, again, if you are trying to keep it a secret or trying to keep it on the DL, not letting people know that you are smudging as often as you are, or that you even smudge at all, because maybe it makes people uncomfortable. So an example of that is I had a friend who was living with their partner, and their partner, they were going through some difficult times, and after a fight, he would want to go through and smudge and sage the space and cleanse the space. Now, he felt that energetically it was going to help to move them through these fights that they were having, this opposition, this difficult time that they were going through their relationship. So after he got in a fight with his partner, he would want to smudge and energetically cleanse the space, but he didn't want his partner to know this because he's like, his partner's like, why are you doing this? So I recommended something else, and I will recommend that later and talk about that. But so, for example, I'm saying all this to say that you don't, there's this stigma sometimes with okay, well, why are you hiding the smudge, or why are you smudging? And for some people, it's just a sacred thing. Smudging in general is a sacred exercise and a sacred activity. So it's not something that you really want to broadcast all the time. So if that truly is the case and you don't want to broadcast the fact that you're smudging, then using a sage bundle like this is not going to be the one for you, because this will leave a fingerprint. It will leave a mark in the sense that someone a day or two later can walk into your apartment or your space and be like, what's that smell? Why does it smell like that? You smoking weed in here? What's going on? So this will leave a lasting impression, but it's very powerful for completely cleansing a space. Let's say you want to cleanse yourself. There are many times growing up where I would go to drum circles with my mom, full moon circles, and we would be out there just at the full moon, just dancing on the beach, almost like, it's in Florida and whatnot, so we weren't wearing much clothes. There's a huge fire. Many people were gathered around, totally different types of people, all, in this one space. There would be spirits, there would be different energies, and we would just work with all of it. And then when we would leave, of course, my mom would light a smudge stick, a sage bundle, and smudge our energy, starting from the very bottom, from our feet, but around our legs, between our legs, up around our body, just up over our head, and just completely smudge and cleanse our space before we got into the car, because she did not want us to bring any type of energies from that full moon circle into the car and into our home environment. Now, that's not to say, again, that anybody that was there had negative vibrations or anything like that, but it's just a preventative measure that you really don't know the type of energy that people are working with. Let's say someone is sick, and let's say you had the flu, or let's say a virus goes sweeping through your home environment, and your kids are sick, your husband's sick, you're sick. Using a smudge bundle at the very end, it doesn't work to remove bacteria, it works to remove energy. So again, that's a great tool for this. Now you're saying, you're probably thinking like, Jess, if you're talking about, this removes all energy, I don't want to remove all energy. I just want to remove negative energy. I just want to remove bad vibes. Then Palo Santo sticks are amazing for you. This is what a Palo Santo stick looks like. This is freaking smells so good. It's one of my favorite things to burn all the time. I burn this more than I burn the sage. I feel like I burn sage when I am having like a super strong emotional release during my meditation practice. I will burn the sage and I will, swirl it around me during that time because so much has been purged. So that's when I use the sage to completely release, simply because the emotion was so strong. Palo Santo is something that I like to use for like lightly after every single reading that I do. I'll burn the Palo Santo and I'll cleanse my deck with my tarot deck with the smoke of the Palo Santo stick. I'll cleanse my space, I'll cleanse my apartment, I'll cleanse me, I'll cleanse wherever it is that I'm doing my reading. That's because Palo Santo is amazing at purifying and cleansing a space and smudging a space, but it doesn't have that thickness, it doesn't have that ability to completely wipe out all vibes. It's only wiping out and resetting kind of like negative vibes and lifting the mood and shifting the energy of the room or the person or the tarot cards or whatever the case may be. Palo Santo is not for incredible emotional release because it's not going to work strong like that. That's not to say that this wood isn't highly spiritual. It is. But if you are going through a lot of emotional cleansing, sage is your best friend with that. Palo Santo is for your everyday feelings and emotions that aren't too heavy and aren't too intense. If you do have a feeling where, and I've done this for myself too, where it's like, okay, I've had this emotionally intense release, or I'm working with a client who just completely emotionally vomits and emotionally explodes, and it's just so much. They've been building up for years, and I work with them one-on-one on a reading. They have a breakthrough, and it's just, the energy of it is just in my room, it's in my space. I will sage first in order to remove it, and then Palo Santo second in order to get that really good sweetness vibes back into my energy space. Sage has this natural tendency to kind of leave this like barren, empty void afterwards, which is what it's there for, is to completely remove. So Palo Santo is, I will follow up with Palo Santo with a blessing, with a mantra, with an intent that I say for the room in order to reset the energy and get it back to this like my normal good vibes, my normal positive, space, and the way that I like it to feel. Like my space, if you ever walk into it, my apothecary, my reading space, the best thing that I can use to describe it is it just feels like rose quartz vibes, like just really sweet, very nurturing, very loving, very pink. The space itself is green, but the energy is very pink. It has this like pink aura around it, and Palo Santo brings that sweetness to it that I just love to have in my space. It's the reset button and just gets me right back to square one. The other way to sage or to smudge your space is by using sweetgrass braids. I don't have those on me right now, but I will in the future have them available in my shop, just like I have the Palo Santo bundles and the sage bundles in my shop. But sweetgrass is so amazing. It's literally like it looks like regular grass, long grass that's braided, and you burn it, and it has this really sweet cupcake. It smells like a cupcake. It smells like you're burning a cupcake, or you're cooking a cupcake or cake in your space. And basically sweetgrass works very similar in alignment with how Palo Santo works, so you can use those interchangeably. Sweetgrass is another thing that's highly spiritual. Sometimes it's hard to get a hold of. Palo Santo is one of those things that's currently trending, and sage is currently trending, so they're easier to find over sweetgrass, but you can use them interchangeably for the same reason and for the same purpose. So let's say you're tired of Palo Santo, let's say you don't like the smell of Palo Santo, then you can switch it out for sweetgrass and get the same benefit. Also, sweetgrass has this natural tendency to attract these sweet vibes in your life, this good energy afterwards, just like Palo Santo does. But I feel sweetgrass has a more ability to attract, to work as a positive magnet of attraction within your space and within your own personal life. So let's talk about alternatives. Let's say you can't use sage, or let's say you hate the smell of sage. Let's say you've overdone the smell of sage. Let's say you can't have smoke within your space, but let's say you rent out your apartment and you have smoke, really sensitive smoke alarms. Let's say you have a roommate who's just like not into hearing about you saging. Let's say you want to keep it a secret. I recommend getting sage essential oil. Make sure it's pure, organic, the best sage essential oil that you can find, because there are so many duplicates out there that are fragrances and just shitty. I'm not gonna lie to you. But yeah, so get some really pure sage essential oil, some orange blossom water, or some rose water, or distilled water. It's up to you. I personally love orange blossom water. That's what I use in my own personal sage sprays. A cleansing spray that I use within my shop. I also have a Palo Santo spray that's available within my shop. But basically what you do is you take 90% of it should be orange blossom or distilled water, and a few drops of the sage essential oil. I personally like a stronger sage blend, and I love a stronger Palo Santo energy spray. I like them to be strongly scented. So you can put that in a spray bottle similar to what I have here, this like blue bottle. The reason why I chose the blue bottle to put this in is because it's something that I find that I would be traveling with. Let's say I'm at the airport, I keep it in like a 2-ounce bottle. I just cleanse and sage and spray myself and my environment. See, it smells good. And it works to help to reset. It's not as obvious. It's not obnoxious, but it helps just the same as far as cleansing the space, and you can travel with it. The bottle is blue in order to protect the essential oils on the inside, because you're traveling with it, so it tends to, be more exposed to light. You guys already know that the majority of my bottles currently are in clear bottles, simply because even though there's essential oils and oils on the inside, I think it's beautiful to be able to see it. This is the Gemini full moon oil or new moon oil actually, no, it was a full moon oil that's going out to everyone. Here's one of the breathe oils. Sorry, you guys, I'm working on orders and I just stopped to film this video because I got the question. So I just think that it's really pretty to see them, and you want to see the magic within the bottle. So these and most lunar intention oils are bottles like this that I'm creating, like the love spell bottles. You're not traveling with them. If you are, just put them in a sleeve, like a velvet sleeve or something like that, in order to protect the bottle. But for these type of, energy sprays, you're traveling with them, and, they're more apt to be exposed to the elements. So I put them in a darker bottle to protect them. But either way, you can make your own sage blends, and just spritz the area, all corners of your room, your, corners of you. Set the intention that you're releasing, set the intention that, and clearly state it. I release anything that is no longer here for my highest and greatest good. I am removing any type of negative energies. I'm cleansing the space with love and light. I'm replacing it with loving energy, and blessings for everyone that come in, in contact with me. For my highest and greatest good, whatever it is that you want to say, whatever blessing that it is that you want to say. I always follow from the heart. There isn't one mantra that I repeat over and over. I just say a prayer from the heart, whatever my intention is for that moment. And, spritz myself, spritz my environment, spritz around my pets, around the people that I love, before you get on an airplane, the person that you're sitting next to. I'm just kidding. Don't do that. You'll probably get arrested. But yeah, basically you can use that mist in order to cleanse your space, and it settles. I mean, you must smell it for an hour or 2 hours. It just smells really good when another person comes in. So they're like, did you clean? It smells really good in here. So it's just using that type of energy spray. These type of bottles of like cleansing room sprays are available within my shop. The sage spray will be available in 2018. The Palo Santo mist cleansing spray is currently in my shop now. I sell out of those really fast, so if you're interested in them, make sure you pick them up. I personally, again, I use orange blossom water, but you can use distilled water if you choose. It's up to you. All right, so that's pretty much it. If you have any other questions about smudging, please leave them down in the comments below. If you have any other questions about anything else, please send me an email or leave them down in the comments below, or comment on one of my posts on Instagram, and I will do my best to answer everyone's questions. I love you, and we'll talk soon. Bye.